You made it to our webinar today. This is BPM RIA, Broward, Palm Beach, Miami-Dade Real Estate Investors Association, your only local chapter here in South Florida that is approved and in compliance with the National Real Estate Investors Association. My name is Alexa, COO here at BPM RIA, and I have an awesome webinar today for you guys. We are going to discuss the rental management tasks that you should be automating. Chef's kiss, can't wait. We have a Jonathan Farisha, the Director of Education and Community at Turbo Tenant, one of our newer corporate vendors. They've been, getting to know you guys the last couple months, but they do really want to get to know you guys today. They are taking the time. They're going to be educating you guys on how they can help you succeed in the rental industry. So get your notebooks out, get whatever you need. But today we're gonna start on a super positive note. I got a little special raffle for you guys here. All you need to do is text the word membership to 954-800-6961 if you're interested in entering the raffle for a free 1-year membership to BPM RIA. So go ahead, text that word to that number right there you see on the screen. I'm going to pop those details in the chat for you guys right now. Go, go, go. I will announce the winner at the very end, you guys. So go enter to win the raffle and good luck. Upcoming events, you guys, we are popping. We're locking, we're dropping. We have so many events this month. My mind is blown, but it's amazing because I talked about it a little bit last night. I don't know, maybe I just spent too much time on social media. I don't know, but this whole winter arc thing has got me on this, I'm like tunnel vision right now. So like I said last night, if you're on the monthly meeting, everybody is gonna be like, oh, I'm just gonna wait till January. Oh, I'm just gonna wait till the new year. No, at BPM RIA, we are not. We are not waiting until the new year. We're gonna go hard right now so that when the new year comes, we are like way ahead of the game. We are ahead of the curve and we are ready to get those deals, get those properties under contract, get the rentals moving and grooving. So go check out the upcoming events on the website right now. These are all posted. We're going to discuss AI day-to-day business activities with Next Mill Mastermind. We're going to go into Burr next week. Free raffles, all of these. Crazy. Have to see you guys there. In-person workshop, we're going to get into creative financing, you guys. I know a lot of you guys are into that. So please show up, Nova Southeastern University campus. The room number is in the registration information, you guys. So make sure you find that room number so you get to the right place for that workshop on Saturday, October 12th. You guys, this is probably one of the biggest things recently, tracking and optimizing your KPIs. We need to have those numbers. We need to be very clear and make sure that we are optimizing our businesses. So please join us for that Next Mill free webinar. And we're going to do a fun little Friday webinar. Ask me anything. This will be Anish Dave, our CEO. Join us and ask him literally anything about real estate. So looking forward to having you guys here. We got raffles, we got all free events, and so excited to just get you guys to where you want to go. This is what, gets me up in the morning, you guys. So looking forward to seeing you all there. My favorite way to keep up with events is via text. You guys know this. It's so convenient, so easy, so simple. You guys, if you are on the text list, you got a text this morning reminding you of the webinar today with the registration link. So convenient, so simple. All you need to do if you want to get on the text list is text BPM REIA, all one word, no spaces, to our event line. It's 954-800-6961. And I went and put those details in the chat box for you guys. So get on the text list. It's super simple and easy and convenient. Make sure you leave out those little quotation mark thingies so this keyword here can trigger you into that workflow. Awesome. Love you guys. I love your emojis too, but they don't work with the workflow. Okay, keep on moving. Quick start. You guys know it. We have an in-house boot camp here at BPM RIA. It's coming up around the corner. We're going to discuss wholesaling and rehabbing. We have our 4 local guest speakers on this training. We have the member and non-member pricing for you guys. I have all the topics that we discuss and those speakers that teach on here included in the link in the chat. So go click that link in the chat, you guys, so you can see what we're talking about, what we're doing in this boot camp. And yes, it is a money back guarantee. You're not satisfied after the first day, you get money back, no questions asked. So looking forward to seeing you guys there. It is the last training for the year. So like I said, winter arc, don't let it get you. All right, keep on moving. Members, as you know, you get all the goodies. You get the benefit package with National RIA. You get in free for those 4 quarterly networking meetings we have per year. Your guests come in at a discount, half price, $10, and you get member pricing for any, special workshops or events that we do charge for. So go get your membership right now if you haven't gotten it already. We have the next quarterly meeting coming up next month in November, so you definitely want to get your memberships either renewed or sign up for that before the November quarterly, and do not wait till the day before because I will be at Nova already and I will be in the building. So you guys, please go get your memberships before November and you will have such a smooth and great experience at that next quarterly networking meeting. All right, mentoring and coaching here at BPM RIA. Some of you may know that we offer a one-on-one coaching program where we put up 100% of the money for our students' deals and split the profit 50-50. Some of you may not know what I'm talking about. For those who have no idea what I'm talking about or have questions on the coaching programs, I invite you to go to our website. It is bpmria.com. Go click that book a discovery call button and schedule a quick 30-minute with me so I can get you all the details on our coaching program, a breakdown of everything that's included, as well as pricing information for you. And during this discovery call, I will be more than happy to schedule that free 1-hour consultation with you and a mentor so you can get into the nitty-gritty questions and get your questions answered in the forefront so you guys can see if this is a good program for you. So go to the chat. I put the link in there. I put my email in there for you guys. And go ahead and scan the QR code if you're interested in funding your education. This is a third-party funding. All you need is minimum 620 credit score, $35,000 verifiable income, soft credit pull, and you will get the same response, the same day as long as you do it within business hours. So if you're interested in funding your education, here is this opportunity for you, and you can always send me an email if you'd like me to send you that link via email. I'm more than happy to do that for you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Always want to take a moment to thank National RIA for all of the awesome things that they provide us. Thank all of our vendor partners, just like Turbo Tenant. They are all on our website and they are all super invested in helping our community achieve their goals in real estate. Always want to take a moment to thank our members and you guys that took the time to make it out in this webinar today. Thank you guys so much for being here. I want to just do a couple housekeeping rules. You guys, I'll be putting helpful links in the chat throughout today's webinar, but if you have any questions for Jonathan, which I know you guys are going to have a ton of questions, please put those questions in the Q&A box. You will see it down below or wherever your menu is in Zoom. So look for that menu, look for that Q&A box, little question mark there. We are recording today's session, so we will have the recording posted. Give me like 24 to 48 hours, you guys. So if you do need to leave early, please be sure to get your questions in the Q&A box. We will answer them, and you can review this recording and share it with people who need to hear this as well. But you guys, please welcome Jonathan. He is going to tell us what Turbo Tenant can do for our rental businesses. So please pay attention, and he's here to answer our questions, but also to show us how we can optimize our rental business. For me personally, I only have one rental right now, but I know over the years that's going to change. So I'm very grateful for this information. So on a personal note, I'm super grateful, Jonathan. Thank you for being here. And I know you guys have rentals out there. You guys have told me in the previous webinars that you guys have rentals. So please use Jonathan. Use this time wisely. I don't know when we're gonna have him back, so you guys, please, the time is now to ask those questions and just give Jonathan your full attention. So thank you for being here, Jonathan. We appreciate you.
Well, thank you. That was a great intro.
Absolutely. We just want to know, what's going on in there in Turbo Tenants world, and just tell us everything because you guys came on the BPM RIA world, I want to say like maybe 2, 3 months ago. So we want to know
Yeah.
what's going on.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah. Happy to give the news of what's going on. Yeah. So yes, I'm with Turbo Tenant. As you can see from this tiny flag on my shirt, that's the Colorado flag. I'm in Denver. That's where Turbo Tenant is based. We're actually based out of Fort Collins, where CSU is. So we've been around since 2015. We have served almost exactly 700,000 landlords across the country in that time, and it's something like 11 million renters as well. So we have a very large pool of people using us, and we have a pretty full-featured all-in-one platform. So I'll kind of go through what does that mean. I'll kind of go through all of that. So yeah, here's what we're talking about: rental management tasks you should be automating. Who am I? All right, that's me. I am Jonathan Porsche. I've been here at Turbo Tenant for 3 years. Before this, I was at the CE Shop. I don't know if any of you are licensed real estate agents. If you are, you may have heard of the CE Shop. They provide online real estate education. So I was there for about 6 years on their marketing team. So very familiar with the real estate landscape. And here at Turbo Tenant, as the Director of Education and Community, my team creates free education. So we host our own webinars similar to this. We have about 600 blogs. We've got a few self-paced educational courses. And we put out a lot of podcasts and videos as well. So our goal is really to help educate you, the landlord, on how to be better, both as a landlord, as an investor, to your tenant, to your rental property, for your bottom line, all of the above. All right, so key takeaways, things you're going to learn in this presentation. 1, how to find quality tenants. 2, how to streamline showing schedulings. 3, how to collect and store digital condition reports. 4, how to collect rent on time every month. 5, other helpful tools to save you time and money. So I will touch on each of these. Obviously, we don't have a ton of time together today. So if you feel like I only just scratched the surface here, you can, of course, learn more by going to a link that I'll drop in the chat or just going to our website. So let's start at the top. You just bought an investment property. Congrats. Now what do you do? So, when you want to become a landlord, when you want to start generating rental income, having the property is a big step, obviously. The hard part in some cases is the down payment, is getting the property. Maybe you inherited it. Maybe you moved and you wanted to keep your old property because it had an incredible interest rate on it. Whatever the case, you've got a property. Now you need to get a renter. Sounds easy, right? Sounds easy to get a renter into your property, but you don't want to just find anyone. I don't know if any of you have gone through an eviction process. If you have, I'm sorry. It's horrible. It sucks for tenant and landlord. Sucks for everyone. They can go on a very long time as well. Talked to one user who was in, I think, DC area, and their eviction had been going on for 18 months. So it can be a huge pain, not to mention a drain on your cash flow. You want to get a good tenant. You don't just want any tenant. So how do you find them? How do you find your tenants? Renting to a friend or a family member, we all know that can bite us. You need to get in front of qualified leads. So let's start with a poll. This is a tool that we use sometimes called Slido. If you use your phone, open up a camera, and you can scan this QR code in the top left here. Or you could go to slido.com, put in that number, and you can answer our poll. So we are asking you, how do you typically find tenants? we've got a few options here. So we have online ad sites like TurboTenant, Zillow, Apartments.com, etc. A newspaper or print ad, referral or word of mouth. Just sticking a for rent sign in the yard. That'd be great if it was always that easy. Or other. Okay, we've got a few answers coming in. Looks like we've had 2 people answer. If anyone else out there wants to contribute, please do. Let's see, where'd my chat go?
All right, guys, now's the time.
All right, I got 3. I'll give it a few more seconds here. I don't see in the chat if anyone's having troubles, so I think we're okay there.
Awesome, guys. Go scan that code. You'll answer the poll. You guys got this.
Alexa believes in you. All right, I'll go. Oh, I triggered my smart speaker behind me by saying that.
I am
All
so
right.
sorry.
I bet you get that a lot, don't you?
I do.
All right, how do you typically find tenants? I'll go ahead and move on. So it looks like most of you online ad sites like TurboTenant, Zillow, Apartments.com, etc. A bunch of you referral or word of mouth. That is always awesome. Some of you, the for rent sign works. Those of you who put other, can you drop in the chat? What kinds of strategies are you seeing work to get you tenants? Run credit reports, Facebook Marketplace. Your boyfriend used a website. Oh, okay. I see. You got to get the name for it. Yeah. Yeah, Facebook Marketplace. That's a that's a big one. You get I think you get the most leads, but also you got to really sift through the bad ones, right? Okay, so we as I mentioned at the top of this, TurboTenant is fortunate to have a very large user base, not just landlords, but also of course renters. And we send out periodic surveys to the landlords, to the renters, and we ask them a whole bunch of questions. Really awesome to just be able to do sort of informal surveys like this, and it gives us some really cool data like this. We asked our tenants, the tenants who use TurboTenant, where did you find your current rental? May not be terribly surprising that a huge majority said online sites like TurboTenant, Zillow, Apartments.com, etc. Clearly, there's a little bit of a confirmation bias there, right? Because we're asking people who are using TurboTenant to pay for their rental how they found their rental. But if you look at the other options here, someone recommended the rental to me, was of almost 20%. In person, drove through the neighborhood. Crazy when that works out. And then a bunch of other, almost nobody said in a newspaper or print ad. So that's probably not terribly surprising. That number used to be, I'm sure, the majority, maybe 2 decades ago or so. But nowadays, it's all online. So you should be too. The way that we do it in TurboTenant, we like to think of our product features kind of a life cycle, right? Like the rental property life cycle. So you start with marketing. You start by advertising your property. So the way that you do it in TurboTenant, you go into our platform and you can set up your rental listing. Totally free to do this, and you put in your title, you put in your description, you drop photos, you can even link out to videos, and then you say go, and it shoots it out to a bunch of different websites. So we send out to dozens of listing websites. We have this cool little graphic here that shows you some of the biggest ones. So Facebook Marketplace, Realtor.com, Apartments.com, Redfin, Dwellsy, et cetera, et cetera. We send out to a whole bunch of them. And then as those interested leads start applying, those will go straight to you. So the whole idea with TurboTenant is that we take all that stuff that you need to do as part of managing your property, and we pull it into a single platform. So absolutely starts with marketing. And on average, we see that people who use TurboTenant marketing see about 28 leads per listing. So 28 leads, you may say you need a lot more to be able to make the right decision, but 28 leads is pretty good pretty good starting point. So that is where we start. And now let's shift a little bit over to the Fair Housing Act, that fun piece of legislation. This is another Slido thing. So if you can scan here and answer our question, we are asking which of the following is a violation of the Fair Housing Act. So our options here: no families, no smokers allowed, refusing to rent to someone because of their criminal record, or requiring a higher security deposit from tenants with pets. So the reason we put this in here, the Fair Housing Act is very important. I'm sure those of you who have rental properties already, or especially if you were or are a real estate agent, you know, the Fair Housing Act is no joke. So it can be a little bit complicated. It can be a little bit reductive at times if you actually read through the legislation. But basically, the reasons that the Fair Housing Act was written the way it was is to make sure that everyone is being treated fairly, making sure there's no discrimination. So we actually wrote an entire course about the Fair Housing Act, and you can find it on our website. It's actually academy.turbotenant.com. Which is where we created a few self-paced courses. So our first one was called Fair Housing for Landlords. And in there, we broke down a lot of different court cases over the years. In some cases, unfortunate situations. In some cases, they deserved what they got. But there are a bunch of court cases about landlords violating fair housing and getting some hefty fines as a result. So definitely something to make sure you understand, especially when it comes to marketing, to writing your rental description, making sure that you're not using any kind of discriminatory language. All right. Looks like we got a few people. I'm going to go ahead and move forward. Okay, which of the following is a violation of the Fair Housing Act? Okay, a few of you got it right. So there's actually two correct answers here. No families and no smokers allowed. Both of these are violations. And if you're saying, what? That doesn't make any sense. The reason is actually exactly what I just said, right? You don't want to be discriminatory towards or against anyone. So if you say you've got a great rental property, no families allowed, well, that's discriminating against families. And frankly, there's some definite pros to having a family rent your unit. Now, no smokers allowed. This is an interesting one. If you've ever tuned into our YouTube channel, you may have seen us using this stat because we love this one, right? No smokers allowed is something that you may think, hey, I'm going to use that everywhere. I don't want people to smoke in my rental property. Totally, I get it. I don't want my rental to smell like smoke either. The thing is, though, you can say no smoking, meaning you can't smoke inside my rental property. You can't say no smokers. Because by saying no smokers allowed, you're discriminating against somebody who is a smoker. So feels like, 6 versus half a dozen, whatever. But it's important. It's important because it can be discriminatory. All right, moving on. So why does all that matter? We have this really cool tool that we created using AI. Now, I know AI, little overdone these days. We're all kind of tired of hearing about it, but we integrated it in a really cool way here. So we used AI, we trained it on some Fair Housing Act language like that I was just talking about. See in the chat, you said ridiculous. Sure, yeah, but that's the law. So we got to play along with it, right? And if you feel like you don't want to read that law, I get it, but you do need to comply with it. And so we created this AI-generated property description feature. So this is built into TurboTenant. Basically what you can do, as this little GIF right here is showing you, you can click our little magic button here, and boom, it'll just spit it out. It'll spit out a great description. It'll give you a title. It'll give you everything that you need there. And it will not violate any kind of fair housing. There you go. It won't say no smokers. It won't say no families. It won't say perfect bachelor pad or anything else that you may be tempted to write that may be a violation. So this is very cool. We hear all the time that our users have no idea how to write a description. You know, this is the part where it feels like you are a marketer and maybe you've never worked as a marketer. I have for about a decade. So personally, I love writing things like property descriptions, but I get it if you don't. So this makes it very, very easy to go ahead and write an attractive description, an attractive title, and then all you need to do is, you know, fact check it, make sure it didn't put in anything crazy, but then drop in your photos and you're good to go. All right, so my Zoom bar is in the way. Let me move that. There we go. All right, you started marketing. All the leads are pouring in. Awesome. We love to see that. Then you start getting these questions. Is it available? Can I come see it? Does it have all the things you already said it has? You know, you know how it is when you're marketing your property and you start to get these questions. Yeah, you know, you'll get some good questions. You'll get a lot of the same questions over and over and over and over. So if only there was a way to make that go a little quicker. We have what we call our pre-screener. So it's an automatic pre-screener questionnaire. You can customize it. Basically, the way that it works is as somebody shows interest in your property, it will automatically shoot out this pre-screener. So you can set in there the kinds of things you want to ask. We have a bunch of I'd say standard questions that we put in, like desired move-in date, what's your monthly income, do you have any pets, do you smoke, contact info, employment status. You can add other things. How many cars do you have? You know, what are your work hours typically? I don't know, all kinds of things, right? You can put all kinds of stuff in there. But really the idea here is to take it a step further and see who you can eliminate from the process earlier on so that you're just left with the real diamonds, right? This automatic pre-screener, it can save you a lot of time, especially if you're in a really competitive rental market. As I think pretty much all of you, if you got rentals in Miami or around there, I'm sure that is a very competitive market. So this pre-screener questionnaire, big hit with our users. They love that they can just very quickly say, hey, I said no pets, and you've indicated you have a pet. So there you go, boom, you're out. And you can move right along and find your perfect tenant. And then when you like them, everything again is stored right here in TurboTenant. So you can just click this button right here, invite to apply. They'll move along in the process. All right, what should it ask? Here are some of the things that we put in there. So basically, this is how it looks for the tenant. So tell the landlord about yourself. Who are you? What best describes you? You know, are you retired? Are you a student? Are you employed? Estimated credit score, move-in information, all of this stuff. Interested in a virtual showing. We try to make it super, super easy. And again, this is not discriminating at all. This is just getting a little bit more information from from the applicant to see if they would meet that renter criteria that hopefully you've already set, right? You know kind of who your perfect tenant would be. You know the kind of person you would want to rent to, the kind of person that would thrive in your rental property. So is this them? That's what this is hopefully going to answer for you. Okay, well, there are alternatives, clearly. We are not the only ones who thought this up. So other ways you could do this. You could build out a Google form. This is totally free with any Google account. You could build out a form. You could put in all the information. You could submit it a little more manual. And then obviously you're using a different tool. And then there's this tool also called Autoresponder. So this creates just a message template and it actually integrates into your email software. So essentially the way that works is they would email you. This would auto respond with a tell me more about yourself. So also free. These are just other ways you can get some more information about those people. All right, leads are coming in. We're happy. Got a lot of animation here, apparently. Oh, I've got pre-screeners. I'm partying. Now I got to schedule some showings. Oof, right? Nobody likes that. Scheduling showings can be really rough. These are some of the questions you get, some of the answers you get. Where's the property? I forgot. It wasn't on my calendar. I'm not free anytime before 10 p.m. on Mondays. You know how this can go. It can get very tedious trying to coordinate something with somebody who you probably haven't even met. You don't have the same schedules. You don't have any idea where they're coming from, what they're trying to do, etc. Or worst case, complete silence. We've been ghosted. We know how that feels. It's not good. All right, so we built this scheduling showings. So you can do this directly in TurboTenant. You don't have to go back and forth because basically our system does the back and forth for you. You set your availability. That's what this is showing on the right. So you set your availability, you shoot it right over to them. It's super easy for the renter. TurboTenant even sends reminders, so automatic, you don't have to touch it. We send reminders to say, hey, this is coming up. You said you could come see that apartment. We're going to make sure it happens. So the cool thing about this is totally free. Totally free, integrated right into TurboTenant. All of the communication comes from us. You don't have to hunt anybody down. This was something we launched, I believe it was earlier this year we launched this, and we were really excited about it. There are other options. I think I list them on the... Yep, here we go. There are, of course, other options to do this kind of thing for showing scheduling. I like to believe that ours is a lot more convenient for everyone, not just for the landlord, but also for the prospective tenants. Just to be able to have everything in a single platform. You don't have to hunt down emails from all different places. You don't have to wonder if something went to spam when it shouldn't have. All of it is coming from TurboTenant, so it's right there. So what are the alternatives? Well, you could do Calendly. That's something I've used quite a bit in the past. You can just create your own scheduling link, shoot it over to somebody. They can use that, looks at your calendar, can figure out what times you're available. You can also use Google Calendar, which, as we all know, it's great. It's free. It works. Now, these things do start to add other tools to your toolbox. It can get a little unwieldy, especially if you're not very tech savvy. You're not used to having, a dozen tech tools to get through your day. It can be a lot. It can be a lot to start adding a bunch of other stuff. All right, and then once again, we asked our tenants, the tenants who use our platform, we asked them, how do you prefer to apply for a rental? Almost all of them said online. Well, maybe that's not fair. 25% said in person, and then 22? Let's call it 22% said I have no preference. And then some crazy people said via mail. I don't know. I don't know what their deal is, but a majority of people definitely prefer online. So shouldn't be terribly surprising. Those of you who have tenants, I'm sure this is what you've been seeing, especially over the last few decades. This is where everything has been shifting. All right, so you think you found your perfect tenant. You think they look pretty good. They meet your criteria. They got through the pre-screener. But now we need some actual numbers, right? We need to see what's really going on, though, which is, of course, where your screening report comes in. So when you're running a screening report, there are, of course, some key things you want to make sure you get, like, of course, a credit score, which is what we're showing right here on the right. And then certain areas do not allow criminal history or eviction history to be screened. I don't believe Florida's one of them, though. I think you guys are totally fine to use all of that information that you can gather. And so our screening reports do grab all of that. So essentially how this works, once again, everything is built right into the same platform. You've got that person who went through your pre-screener, you really like them, you say invite to apply, they apply. Then we will send over via text or email, we'll say, hey, they want, your prospective landlord really wants to get a screening report. That's the next stage in the process. Here you go. The nice thing about the way we do it is you, as the landlord, don't have to gather their social security number. You don't have to gather anything else that's going to be sensitive information that you'll have to, shred or do something with afterwards. It keeps everything extremely confidential because we just go straight to the applicant. We have them fill it in. Everything comes to you very quickly. It shoots it right over. These are industry standard questions. There's nothing weird here. And then the report goes straight to you. So the report will show you screening report. It'll show you criminal history, eviction. It'll show you anything they have in collections. And then if you are one of our premium subscribers, which is our annual subscription, which I'll kind of break that down in a minute here. But if you are a premium subscriber, you also get access to this over here. So this comes from TransUnion. All of our credit data comes from TransUnion, one of the 3 major credit bureaus. And what this is, we call it Income Insights. It essentially checks their income and it tells you, are they underreporting? Are they right on? Or are they overreporting? And so it's not going to literally say, here's their income for the last year, but it will tell you basically how truthful they have been with their self-reported income. So that's kind of a nice just last, sort of check for like, have they been truthful? Because if they haven't, obviously that's a red flag, and that's something that maybe we should dig a little bit farther into. But we like to provide things like this, just another little check along the way as you're trying to figure out who the right person to move in is. And did I see a Q&A come in?
Yes, we have one. If you want to take a break, or we can wait for more.
Let's see what's up next. Yeah, I'll stop right there. What's the question? I can't seem to load it on my current screen here.
No worries, I gotcha. So we have Lisa here saying, should we do an eviction? Would the tenant's info, for example, social security number, be sent to us after the tenant's application is sent in? Or sorry, should we have to do an eviction? I didn't say that correctly. Should we have to
Gotcha.
do an eviction? Would the tenant's info, for example, social security number, be sent to us after the tenant's application is sent in? My bad.
So if you have to evict this tenant, I'm guessing?
Do we have, maybe this is a follow-up question. Do we have the ability to double check their references employment?
To check their references and employment. So if you ask them, yes, that's not a part of the screening process right here. We do have in there, you can ask for landlord references. You could ask for employment references if that's something you wanted to do, again, for every applicant, because we want to make sure we're not discriminating with anyone. That is something you could sort of add on. It's not built into our screening report or the screening process that we have.
Okay. Lisa, if you need us to clarify anything else, please resend that in. Thank you so much. And
if I think that first question, if I understand it correctly, so if you have to evict someone, will you then get the social security number? The answer is no. So the way that our process works, you never get a social security number. We've built it all where sensitive information is well hidden. Honestly, there's not really a reason you would need the social security number. So we like to tell the tenants that their personal information is totally safe. If you have to evict them, that is something that would be done outside of TurboTenant. We will not handle the eviction. We will not do the eviction proceedings for you. We do actually have a partner called Easy Evict USA. That's what they're called. And that information is actually right in our dashboard. We can shoot you over to them. They can help you out with whatever is going on there.
awesome. So helpful. Thank you, Jonathan. I have one more question here in the Q&A, and I see one in the chat. Alejandro is asking, is this screening only for residential tenants, or do you also offer screening for commercial business tenants? Thank you.
Yeah, that's probably something I should have said at the top. Sorry about that. So TurboTenant, we are only for residential properties. We do not do anything for commercial. We do not do anything for storage units, RV parks. We can't really help very much with those types of things. Our bread and butter is our self-managing DIY landlords. So most of our users have between probably 1 and 10 rental properties. We do have some users who have 100 or more who use our platform, but a majority of our users have that smaller portfolio. And they are using us for long-term rentals. That's kind of our sweet spot. People also use us for midterm rentals, though. So midterm being anything longer than 30 days, anything less than 12 months, typically. A lot of people use us for those. I will say short-term rentals, we cannot help there. That's just not what we're built for. We're not built for, using us in conjunction with Airbnb or anything like that.
Awesome. So cool. Awesome. Awesome. Alrighty. And one more in the chat. I don't know if this is a question.
Oh, gotcha, Max. Okay, okay. That makes sense. Yeah, so again, that portion would have to be handled outside of TurboTenant. We don't handle social security numbers. We don't, again, we don't actually help with that eviction process. I will say that something that's really nice about having everything in one platform is you can scan documents, you can scan receipts, you can put your lease agreement in TurboTenant, and then all of your messaging can also be in TurboTenant. The reason that matters is that say things do go south and you have to pursue an eviction, you have all of the, I hate to say evidence, but evidence right in one place, right? You can pull it all out of there. Our messaging even has read receipts built in, which is really key for being able to say, say you do have to go to an eviction proceeding, and I hope you don't, but if you do, you can even say, hey, there's a read receipt. This person did read my message.
Oh, that's gonna be my next question. If it's like real time, and that's just phenomenal. Beautiful. That's what we like to see.
Yeah, yeah. All of that is automatic. It's all built in, and same with rent receipts. That's another huge thing. That rent receipts are not something that every landlord does. We do recommend everyone to do it. It's required in, I think it's like 18 states require it. I'm not actually sure if Florida is one of them. Even if Florida does not require rent receipts, you should absolutely do it.
Yes.
So rent receipts can be super simple, nothing crazy, right? It's really just you paid this amount, it covered these dates, it was paid on this time, I received it. Boom. That's all you need.
It's
Uh,
just good best practice, especially a lot of us in Florida invest in other states as well. So highly recommend that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Not only to keep your books straight and to give your tenant peace of mind that yes, they did pay it. But again, if something happens because of non-payment of rent, well, that's the first place you should look, obviously.
Totally. Totally. All right. I think that's all the questions for now. Keep on coming, guys. Go ahead and put those in the Q&A box.
Okay, condition reports. This is another huge thing that we heard from our users for a while. It would be really cool to have in the platform. We released this earlier this year. So condition reports are essentially for your move in, for your move out. This is, exactly what it sounds like. What was the condition? What was the condition of the property? This is also something that is incredibly useful. It's very tempting when you're doing move-in to skip over this process. It's very easy to just be like, we all know it was fine. I've got photos. We're good. Don't do that. Make sure that you are properly documenting everything, not just for you, but also for your tenant. And so we built this directly into TurboTenant. And I'll show you what that looks like in just a second here. Basically, I put here, how do you handle condition reports today? If you do them, feel free to drop your answer in the chat. These are some of the answers we've gotten from people in the past. So a bunch of them will say paper. They'll just write it down. Let me just write it down. Google Docs, always good. At least it's more secure than paper because you're probably not going to lose it, though you still could. A video walkthrough, that's always a good idea as well, because then you can you have something to actually look back on. It's not just you writing down wall looked weird. We actually have a video of why did that wall look weird. A shared album of photos. I would say do a few of these things and make sure that you're consistent with it. So not just at move in, but also move out. Because obviously the move out, in comparing it to whatever you saw at the move in, that's how we're going to determine, do they get a security deposit back? If not, what am I deducting? All right, so this is what it looks like with our condition reports directly in TurboTenant. So there we go. So we're almost starting over. I was going to kind of walk you through here. Finalize report. Okay, so this is the way it looks. You go in here, you say walls and ceiling, doors, door locks and hardware. You know, you can go room by room. If it's bad, you can say why. You can attach a photo or a video, and then you sign. So the signature, very important. This is just like what I was talking about a moment ago with our messages and those read receipts and rent receipts. You want documentation. Documentation is your friend. And any tenant, especially a good tenant who's not trying to screw you over, is also going to want documentation. The reason is it protects you from the he said, she said, and all that, right? It's going to make sure that both of you are on the same page. You're both on board with whatever the documentation says, and you've both signed it. This is just like your lease agreement. Your lease agreement should not be written in crazy, impossible to decipher legalese, right? It should be easy to understand. The rules should be decipherable, and it should be signed by both parties. Nothing crazy. You're not trying to screw anyone over. You are just providing a service, and they are agreeing to pay for that service. That's how this should work. The condition report is definitely an extension of that. So we recommend you go through it upon move-in. You and your tenant, hopefully you can do this in person together. You go through room by room, anything funky, you take a picture. If there is something that needs maintenance, you say, cool, we'll do that. And then you sign it. When move out comes, you do the exact same thing. You go through it again. You say, hey, there was this weird thing. Let's see how it looks now. If there are any new weird things, that's when you could hopefully talk with your tenant about this is going to have to come out of the security deposit. And this is something in TurboTenant that we offer for free. Easy to find. This is stored right on your property level within the platform. You can find it. Your tenant can also find it. So they can see that, hey, we both agreed the ceiling fan was not making a weird sound, and now it is. So let's deal with that. Okay, alternatives to our digital condition reports. Of course, there are some. Again, Google Forms, our old friend, the Google Docs, right? These are easy, they are free. You can create your own unique report. You can add fields, you can upload photos. The issue is you need to make sure you can find it afterwards. And then, of course, there are some online templates. So Rocket Lawyer has a pretty good option. They do charge about $40 a month to unlock their template. And there are a lot of others out there. Let's see. See the chat. Okay. Nobody chiming in on this. But yeah, there's a lot of other options, of course, that you can use for this kind of thing. The issue, as I've said with the other tools that we offer, is making sure that you can keep track of it and that you've got everything available when you need it, right? There's nothing worse than using one tool for your move-in condition report, and then say your tenant is there for like 7 years. 7 years later, can you find that move-in report? Because if you can't, that's going to make the move out really difficult. You're going to have to go through and just say, yeah, I don't know, I guess it's in pretty good shape. Okay, let's shift over to collecting rent. So I believe this is my last Slido question for you guys. But the question is, how do you collect rent? So if you want to scan that or go to the website and type in this number, this will be the last time I believe I ask you to do this. How do you collect rent? Our options are cash, check, peer-to-peer payment processor. These are the ones with funny names like Zelle, Venmo, Cash App, etc. Or other. Maybe you're accepting rent in gold bars. That's actually a thing that I heard recently. We covered it on our podcast. Somebody was asking, should I accept rent in gold bars? And I was shocked to find that a lot of landlords said, yeah, gold's great. I'll always take rent in gold bars. To me, that sounds really complicated, but to each their own. All right, I'll give you a few more seconds on this one. How do you collect rent? Looks like nobody so far has said cash. That's good. Cash is a little tricky. It's obviously simple, easy to deposit, but also easy to lose. And of course, you got to run over and pick it up in person. All right, a few more seconds on this one. Okay, so nobody's doing another. Nobody's doing a cache. 20% of you are using some kind of software like TurboTenant. That's awesome. 20% check. Yep, totally get that. Easy. You know you got it. You can deposit it pretty quickly. Looks like 60% of you are using a payment processor like Zelle, Venmo, Cash App, etc. Yes, I totally get that. Very, very convenient. Okay, well, we do this. So this is something else that TurboTenant offers is rent collection. So I've been saying this whole time that the big benefit of TurboTenant is being able to do everything in one place. Obviously, the thing that most of you care about the most is that rent, right? You didn't become a landlord just to play around within a property that you don't live in. You, of course, want to make money on it. Collecting rent is the most important thing, and beyond that, collecting rent on time is even more important because you may have a mortgage to pay on that rental property. And if the rent comes in late, well, the mortgage is going to have to come out of your own pocket rather than coming out of that monthly rent. So in our platform, you can set up, it's very customizable. You can set what the rent amount is, when it is due. You can even say whether or not you allow partial payments. That's something some landlords like to do. You can allow them to, I don't know, pay ahead of time. I heard yesterday there was a tenant who was paying rent 3 months at a time, like one huge lump sum, then 3 months later, another huge lump sum. Sounds kind of complicated, but hey, whatever works. You can set it up. In our system, you can also set up late fees, and you can set up custom late fees. So you can say, if they're between 1 and 5 days late, it's going to be X amount per day. If they're more than 5 days late, that percentage is going to go up. Now, tenants can also set up auto pay. That is awesome. So for the tenants to not even have to worry about it, they can just set it where it's going to be the first of the month, every single month. That's going to come out of my bank account. Boom. Very nice for the tenants. Also very nice for you, the landlord, because now first of the month, every month, that money is going to come out and go straight into my account. We like it when everything is automated. That is the entire purpose of TurboTenant, entire purpose of my presentation today. Automating this stuff means that you don't have to figure out, oh gosh, how am I going to get over to the rental property and pick up the check or pick up the bag of cash or whatever, right? We also send these rent receipts. As I mentioned a moment ago, rent receipts are huge. Rent receipts are very, very nice to have. If for those of you who are accepting rent in check, I hope there's some kind of rent receipt. You should do one. Obviously, you've got the deposit, they've got the withdrawal. Yeah, there are those, but taking it just a step further and making sure you've got further documentation there, that you got the money, it was paid for these dates, we are all squared. That is really, really useful. You can also track your cash flow right in your dashboard. So that's what this is showing over here on the side. So we've got past due, unpaid, charges, paid, in transit, deposited. We see that our users open their You've Got Paid email over 100% of the time. What does that mean? So I'm a marketing director, right? So I play around with email stats all the time. I'm always looking at open rates, click-through rates, all this stuff that I'm sure the rest of you don't care about. But the funny thing about that You've Got Paid email, it has over 100% open rate, meaning each person is opening it more than once. They love to see that they got paid. They'll open it, they'll see they got paid. Later that day, they'll open it again and see that they got paid because that feels good. And seeing this in your dashboard, this is what you see when you first log into TurboTenant. You will see this right here. So we have a huge spike of activity the end of the month into probably the first 5 days of the next month. So like right now, for instance, a lot of people are coming into TurboTenant just to see these sweet, sweet numbers, all of that rent money coming in. We also have an integration with a tool called REI Hub. So REI Hub is it's essentially accounting software built for rental properties. So I'm sure a bunch of you use QuickBooks or something like it. Maybe you just have a crazy Excel spreadsheet you share with your accountant. REI Hub is custom built for real estate, meaning you don't have to do any kind of weird workarounds or any kind of customizations to make it work for your rental properties. It's all right there. And this is actually what it looks like, right? That's what this is right here. This is REI Hub. Our integration with them means that the way that you set all your properties up in TurboTenant syncs right over to REI Hub. So very cool to get this sort of better insight into all the money, all the money that's going on in your account, right? And I'm sure here, as we're entering Q4 through the end of the year, you may start thinking more and more about taxes because unfortunately, tax time is not too far away. So this can make it really easy. You can do a one-click tax packet. You can get your Schedule E straight out of there. And REI Hub even can export to QuickBooks. Say you want to keep using QuickBooks. Say you have an accountant who lives and breathes in QuickBooks. Cool. You can use that in conjunction with REI Hub. So rent collection, totally free for landlords using TurboTenant. So if you are using rent collection with us, your tenant can pay by credit card or debit card. There's a 3.49% credit card, or I should say card fee for debit card or credit card payments. Your tenants can also pay by ACH. So that's direct deposit straight out of their bank account. If they pay that way and you're on our free plan, there's a $2 fee per month for the tenant. If you are on one of our paid plans, that $2 fee is actually waived. So they could pay by ACH with no fee. And then we put a note here, TurboTenant accounting, that's that REI Hub I was just talking about. It ranges depending on how many properties you have. It starts at $750 a month, and then it actually maxes, I think, at 15 properties. So say you have 15 properties or you have 115 properties, it's going to be the same amount. It doesn't get any more expensive than $85 a month for REI Hub. All right, of course, there are some alternatives. You could use a payment processor. We already saw that. I think it was 60% of you are using these. So these are your Cash Apps. These are your Venmos. These are your PayPals. These are your whatever else's. Yeah, these exist. Absolutely. There are issues with these. So let me first say, I totally get why anybody would use these. Tenants are already using them, right? We use them for a lot of stuff. These are how you help pay for a pizza you split with your friends, right? These are very easy to use. They're pretty ubiquitous. You can find them everywhere. But there are some issues. So first of all, some of them have weekly or monthly payment limits. And a few of them are starting to get a little tricky with how they integrate with certain banks, where it's like totally fine unless you use Capital One, and there might be a monthly limit. Say you have a higher rent, you don't want that. You don't want their say you're charging a higher rent amount, you don't want your tenant to be limited on how much they can pay you through their chosen method of paying. They also have no option for automation. So everything I was talking about with being able to just count on that money coming in every month on time, that's not in there. And then rent receipts, they've got it based in their platform, but they don't have any more automated, more official sort of way built around rent receipts. They also have varied transaction fees. So I wish I could remember which one. I want to say it was Venmo, might have been Zelle. They came out with some increased transaction fees for businesses. This was just a few months ago. And it can be quite a lot. So if we're talking between 1.9%, 3%, if you're being charged that on rent every month, well, that starts to hurt, right? That can be a good chunk of change over a year. And we've got this little graphic over here. I actually wrote a blog post about the downsides of these kinds of payment apps. And these are a few of them, right? Payment limits, high fees, no receipts, no automation. A really big one that I don't think a lot of landlords know about is, again, I think it was Venmo, might have been Zelle, might have been both. They cannot reverse a payment. They also can't deny a payment. So the reason that matters is, say you're pursuing an eviction due to non-payment of rent, your tenant could send you $1. You can't deny it, and now non-payment of rent gets a little complicated. Did they pay you the full amount? No, but they did give you a payment. And if you have been through an eviction process, you know how crappy it can be, you know that you don't want to throw a wrench in anything to further slow down the eviction process. So at the end of the day, these apps are just not built for rental properties. They're not built for landlords, and they're not meant to scale with you as you grow your portfolio. We are. We have all these things, right? There are no daily limits. It's free for landlords, automatic receipts, auto pay, integrated accounting. One thing I actually didn't mention, which is pretty big, using payments through TurboTenant, your tenant can also pay for rent reporting. So that's an extra fee that they pay for. It does not come out of your side at all, and it's $5 a month. So if the tenant decides to pay for it, for $5 a month, every time they have an on-time rent payment, it will be reported to 2 of the 3 credit bureaus. That goes to TransUnion and Experian. So it is reported to both of them, only on-time payments. If they have a late payment, it's not reported to hurt them. They're paying for the service, so it can only help them. Now, the cool thing about that, they are then able to build credit using what's probably the largest monthly expense that they have, which is very nice for them. One day, if they decide to buy a house or something, they will have hopefully better credit. And also it gives you some insurance, right? Because now they have an added incentive to pay rent on time every month because it's going to be reported and it'll help them build credit. All right, other alternatives. QuickBooks. Yeah, I've been talking about this one. QuickBooks, you know it. You maybe love it. You maybe begrudgingly love it, whatever. The price can be quite a lot. $30 to up to $200 a month. That's pretty pricey. Or whatever, spreadsheets. I go to a lot of trade shows on behalf of TurboTenant, and I will ask people, what do you use right now to manage your accounting, to manage your rent payments? It's alarming how many will say pen and paper. It's 2024. It's almost 2025. Those days are over. Got to use some better tools. All right. So I've gone through a lot. I haven't gone through everything. These are a lot of the things that TurboTenant offers. I've said it a dozen times. I'll say it again. Really, our goal here at TurboTenant is to provide you all of the things that you need to adequately run your rental property business in a single place. So all of it is available at turbotenant.com. It is completely free to sign up. You can sign up. You can even put a dummy property in there, charming home near downtown. You can just put it right in there. We're not going to get that in front of anyone until you tell us to. And you can see for yourself kind of how it works. We're constantly adding new features. We've got a lot of exciting stuff coming in these next few months. We did just release multi-user access, which is something that our users had been asking for. This is very cool. This means you can have multiple accounts all accessing the same portfolio. So it could be you and your spouse with their own account, or it could be you and your handyman, or you and your accountant, or I don't know, maybe you've got investors or something. You could get them all in there, right? Accessing the same properties, making sure that you guys see the same stuff without having to share logins. So we've got a lot of exciting stuff coming like that. We also have mobile apps. We have 2 of them. One is for landlords, and it gives you just everything that you need to see. And then one is for tenants. The tenant one is very lightweight. They only have a few options. They can pay rent. They can send you a message. They can put in a maintenance request. That's pretty much it. And that's awesome because we are already seeing our tenant app's only been out for a few months, but we're already seeing that tenants pretty much exclusively use that app. They're not going to the website. They're not going on their computer. They're not going on a tablet or a laptop. They're going on their phone because that's where everything else is. And once you've got your tenant moved in and everything is copacetic, that's all they need to do is go into the app and make sure rent was paid, make sure you're aware that, I don't know, there's a leaky faucet or whatever. So some of the stuff I didn't get into, maintenance tracking, you can also do that in TurboTenant. They can put in a maintenance request. You can put in a maintenance request. You can send it over to your handyman. We also have an integration with a company called Lula, which if it's available in your area, I want to say it is in Florida. You can basically just set it up where the tenant can just go straight to Lula. So they don't have to call you at midnight when there's a problem. They can call Lula. They will triage that and take care of it and keep you aware, obviously, as everything moves forward. So that's a really awesome option for those of us who are out-of-state investors. Okay, that brings me to the end of the presentation. So you can scan this QR code. It will take you over to our website. Also, let's see, I had that URL. Let's see if I still got it. I do. Boom. All right. Thank you, Alexa. You also dropped it in there. If you click that link, you'll go over to our website. You can use this code, BPMVIP. It'll get you 20% off TurboTenant Premium. So Premium is our annual subscription. The way that we do it, all that stuff that I talked about this whole presentation, these things are free for the landlord. We do have, we actually have 2 paid plans. Here's our lovely website. Here's our pricing page. Take a look here. I think this will answer a bunch of questions you may have. So free, when we say free, not a free trial, actually free. This is free forever. We don't even take a credit card. Sign up, make a free account. You are good to go. And then we do have, we call it our Pro plan and our Premium plan. So these numbers look crazy, right? They're billed annually. So it comes as just one fee. So what that works out to is, let me scroll down here. Pro is $119, Premium is $149. It's a one-time fee. That is whether you have 1 property, whether you have 1,000 properties. We do, of course, have a lot of competitors in this space, and you may be aware of some of our competitors. Maybe you're even using them. A lot of our competitors price things based on the unit, based on, you know, $5 per month per unit or something. As you scale your portfolio, that can get ridiculous. I've talked to a few people who, gosh, one couple had 71 properties, and they were using Buildium, which is one of the larger providers for sure in our space. They were paying $1,400 a month. Ouch. That can really hurt. So then I come in and say it's $119 a year, and they looked at me like I was a crazy person. That is cheap. That is really cheap. You'll notice here unlimited number of properties on any of our tiers. So even if you go with our most expensive $149, unlimited number of properties. Now the next question is, what the heck are you getting by actually paying? Again, I invite you to check out this page, read it for yourself. You'll see over here income verification that I talked about, only available on our Premium plan. Custom screening questions, only available on our paid plans. A lot of that stuff that I talked about, like marketing, lead management, showing scheduling, free. Available on every plan. And then if we scroll down, we have e-signatures built in, so you can stop using DocuSign or whatever else you were using. That's very cool because then you can sign everything directly in TurboTenant. Again, have everything stored in one place. That is included in our Premium plan. State-specific lease agreements. This is huge. I'm not sure what you guys are using for lease agreements, but we hear all the time from other landlords. They're using the same one that they had a lawyer draft in 1980. Cool. I'm sure it was great in 1980. Unfortunately, some things have changed. A lot of laws have changed. I don't know about Florida. Actually, I did hear you guys had some new like squatters' rights laws, right? Earlier this year. I'm in Colorado. Colorado has had a lot of law changes as far as rental properties are concerned. And I don't expect any of you to stay on top of it. I am not on top of all of them. And, you know, I make content about a lot of this stuff. So this is huge because we have a legal team. They are on top of it. They make sure that all of these state-specific lease agreements are updated. I think Alexa mentioned that a bunch of you guys have properties in other states. I'm sure you do. You're in Florida. Maybe you got a rental in, I don't know, Georgia or North Carolina or New York. There's no way you know all the laws. A lot of people don't know all the laws. These state-specific lease agreements cover you with all of them. So on our free plan, these are a la carte, $59 per lease. On our paid plans, they're unlimited. And same with the lease addendums. You get those included as well. So say you signed a lease and then you realize you forgot to talk about how to use the carport or something, you can add that in as an addendum and make sure you get that signature. Those condition reports I mentioned, free for all. And then document management. We've got some partners who will help you with stuff like LLC formation or landlord insurance, which is very important. These are paid add-ons. So, and then last thing that I will mention, obviously there's a whole bunch of check marks on this page, so please do check it out if you are interested. But the last thing that I'll mention here are these two, expedited rent payouts. So once the rent is paid, you want it in your bank as quick as you can, right? On our free plan, that takes about, let's see, I think it's between like 3 and 5 days to get over to your bank account, which, 3 to 5 business days. So let's say they pay on a Friday. It can feel like a while till it gets there. I know, it can be annoying. If you're on one of our paid plans, we send that over in about 2 days. So a lot faster. Make sure it gets to your account as quick as it can. The other big thing is connected bank accounts. A lot of our users will have a bank account per property, which is a smart way to keep everything separate, to make sure that you're not commingling, your business expenses, your personal expenses, all that stuff. On our free plan and on our pro plan, you can only connect one bank account. On our premium, you can have as many as you want. You can go crazy with it. All right, so this is our website. I was just showing you the pricing page, which you can find right up here. This is how you would sign up. Please do use the links that we dropped in the chat. And we have a ton of other stuff on our website. If you go over to Landlords, you will find all of the things that my awesome team creates, all of our videos, podcasts, ebooks. You can even check out landlord tenant laws. We've got this. Let's click over to Florida. Boom, look at that. Those are all the laws. You can find all of this stuff. What are the eviction procedures? We got you covered right here. So yeah, please check all this out. We've got a ton of links that'll take you over to the right website. I know how confusing this stuff can be. And then if you ever need any help, this little box down here will take you right to our support team. So they are real people, I guarantee. I was chatting with them yesterday. We are Colorado based. Our entire company is in Colorado, except for our engineer team. They are actually spread all over the world. We do this really cool thing once a year where we fly everybody out here to Colorado. And that's actually happening right now. So we flew people from Brazil, Serbia, Paraguay, Bolivia, Argentina, Spain. I can't think of any others, but yeah, we flew all of them here. So this is a really cool thing that we do. We're definitely real people. So reach out to us when you need help. And then the last thing I will mention before we try to cover some of those questions, we also have this support center. So it's just support.turbotenant.com. This is an awesome place where you can answer a lot of your questions. As simple as how can I make my property stand out, or how do I delete a property? This can help you get a lot of those answers. And then if it doesn't do the trick, you can reach out to us. All right, I saw a few questions came in.
So many questions, and you guys, please, we'll do rapid fire until 12:30. So keep putting those questions in the Q&A box. If you put your question in the chat, if you can go put it in the Q&A box so I don't miss it, that would be amazing. But wow, okay, let's get into it. And you guys, you can go click that link in the chat, turbotenant.com/BPM REIA. I put the support link in there too. So cool. Okay. I love this. They love asking for everything and I love it. Okay. Can we get a copy of your pre-screening question?
A copy of ours?
I think that's gonna be in there.
Gotcha. So we don't hand that out, but yeah, I mean, they're pretty standard questions. It's stuff like, do you have a pet? Do you smoke? How many cars do you have? And then if you're on one of our paid plans, you can customize those as well. So let's say you've got a rental property that you know you don't have much parking. You're not going to allow anyone to move in if they say they have more than 2 cars. You can make sure you ask a few more questions about that, right? Um, yeah. So now, if you're asking, can we get a copy of the questions after they are answered? Absolutely. That's all built right into TurboTenant.
Sweet. Awesome, guys. Okay. Esther asking, in the event of a legal dispute, are all of the reports and photos downloadable?
Yes. Yes, they are.
Perfect. All right. Deb asking, does the rent collection transfer to accounting programs like QuickBooks? Oh, okay. Yeah.
We do,
So
yeah, we do. Yeah, I know I mentioned the QuickBooks one, and I'll say it again. The We do export to QuickBooks. Do we export to Xero? I actually don't know that one. I'm willing to bet yes. We export in a pretty standard format. I wish I knew accounting better to tell you exactly the format, but it's a very standard format that we can export and just go right into other programs. So I'm pretty sure it will work with Xero.
awesome. All righty. Lisa's asking, if the tenant sends in some months of rent with a check, could I still issue a rent receipt through TurboTenant?
Yes, great question. And I should have mentioned that. Uh, the way that we capture everything in our platform, we know that just because you want to accept rent a certain way doesn't mean your tenant wants to, right? A lot of tenants are, maybe they're older, maybe they're set in their ways, maybe they've been paying you for decades with a check and they're like, what the heck is this TurboTenant thing? We get it. So there's no reason to rock the boat, right? Even if you want to change up your rent collection, maybe you're going to wait until you get a new tenant or something. Um, or maybe they are paying you in gold bars. It's a possibility. You can still put in manual offline payments is what we call them. So directly in your account, you can put in there record offline payment, and you can tell our system they paid this amount on this day and it covered these dates, and then we'll shoot over that rent receipt. So even if they paid, say they paid a year at a time or something unusual, or if they're paying with the check, you can't scan that check into TurboTenant technically, but you can absolutely do offline payment and make sure it's recorded in there. And that way both of you can still see it.
Perfect. Love that transparency. Alrighty. For the automatic reminders, is it only email or can you send text as well?
Yeah, I believe you can do both. I believe you can do both. And the automatic reminders, I'm assuming they meant for rent payments. And those automatic reminders, they come from us. And also when the rent is late, it comes from TurboTenant, which is kind of nice because then you're not the bad guy. You know, you can blame us. You can be like, oh, TurboTenant with those annoying reminders. Anyway, did you pay? So it will go straight to them. They'll see it in their TurboTenant account. They'll get an email. And if they have opted in to receive text, they will also receive text.
Perfect. Alrighty. Can you change or add in things to the lease?
Add in thing. Yes, you can. Yeah. So if you're using our lease agreements, we've got the standard lease agreement. It has all the required disclosures for your area. And I know I mentioned the state specific aspects, but it even goes deeper where there are some places the county or even the city will have different requirements. I don't know for sure, but I would assume Miami probably has more requirements than maybe some of the surrounding areas. I can tell you Cook County, which is where Chicago is, has some of the craziest. They have, for some reason, they just have so many more disclosures required. Same with New York City, but you know, that's kind of to be expected. And so these can change a lot, where it's like somebody who's totally used to writing lease agreements in Illinois, if they suddenly go over to Cook County where they weren't before, it can be a different ballgame. So we cover you on all of those things. If you want to add anything else, you can absolutely do it. So you can customize the lease still. And then, as I mentioned, we also have lease addendums. So that's just after the lease has been signed and gone into effect, you can create a lease addendum, and we have templates for that as well. You can create a lease addendum, put anything you need to get in there, and then it'll send out for tenant signature first, and then your signature last. We always have the landlord sign last. And anything that is signed is stored in the platform and is accessible by both parties.
Love it. Beautiful. Alrighty. Okay. Ronaldo, you mentioned that you can't advertise as a no smokers allowed, but can you deny smokers if they disclose on their application that they smoke?
That's a hard one.
That's that's a
So
tough.
technically, by the way that the law is written, the Fair Housing Act, no, no. So you would have to, unless there's a reason not to, right? Like let's say it's a duplex and the other side of the duplex is somebody with in really intense asthma, like a medical condition that's been documented, and they know that just having a smoker around will hurt their quality of life. In that case, yes, you could. But if you have it in the lease that they cannot smoke inside, you understand they're a smoker, but you've made it very clear with them the only smoking area is, on the outside of the property, X feet away, and they sign it, then you've got to go forward with them. Now, what you could do is set your renter criteria to kind of further discourage it. Again, you don't want to discriminate against anyone. You want to make sure that you've set your renter criteria to where you are taking the first person that checks all of those boxes. So you don't want to say one of those boxes can't be you don't smoke, but it does have to be you do not smoke inside. And you could also do landlord references during your screening process where you could ask to talk with some of their previous landlords. And that could be one of the questions you ask. Did they ever smoke inside? How was the property when they moved out? And if that landlord says, yeah, it was pretty bad. It smelled really strongly of cigarette smoke, and I had to, rip out the carpet or repaint the walls or use what is that, Kills that takes out the smoke from the walls. If they tell you that, then yeah, I think you have a reasonable cause not to move them in.
Yep. Evidence, guys, evidence. All right, we have Esther here. If you have rental properties in multiple states, can we use just one account?
Yes, you can. Absolutely. Yep.
Perfect. Beautiful, you guys. Justin, no STR.
Yeah.
With Turbo
Yeah,
10.
we don't, we're just not built for short-term rentals. Um, I did talk to a user who was using us for they were doing weekly lease agreements. So I don't know what situation they had, but yeah, they had weekly lease agreements. So somebody would sign it, they'd be there for a week, maybe they'd renew, but it would just be a week at a time. And they were using us. Now, that I would still say that's like, yeah, that's a short-term rental, but it's a little different from Airbnb because something like Airbnb or VRBO, you don't really have a lease agreement. You just sign up through their platform, and I think that that's the difference. Um, I will say if you have long-term rentals and short-term rentals, you could still use TurboTenant for your short-term rentals just to organize stuff.
Cool.
One of the cool features that we have that I didn't even get to in this presentation is that you can upload documents to your portal in TurboTenant. So one really cool thing that we see people use it for is scanning receipts. So say I just did a whole bunch of work in the kitchen or something. I'm going to have a lot of receipts, right? I'm a person who will do like 4 trips in a weekend to Home Depot when I'm working on a project. You end up with a lot of receipts. You could scan all of those and upload those to your property in TurboTenant. So even if you're using a property as a short-term rental, you could still use us to help organize all that kind of stuff. But we cannot help with finding you people to rent it out for a weekend, for instance. We're really just long-term and midterms.
No, that's actually awesome and good information right there, guys. That was a great question. Thank you for mentioning that, Justin. I truly appreciate it because I see how that can work with like medical professionals,
Mhm.
contractors, things like that, which I see a lot in the community that I live in, or not I live, my property is in that I hang out here every now and then. So, all right, and then Alejandro circling back on the commercial. We get it. We totally get it, but I will ask Jonathan just for fun. What I don't know if you want to answer that one actually.
Sure. Yeah, have we considered offering the service for commercial as well? Uh, Frankly, no. We have not. You know, we've certainly talked about it, but our bread and butter is residential. We have a few competitors, one in particular I can think of that really tries to do it all. Really tries to do it all for everyone. And in my opinion, it kind of muddies the waters. Where our whole thing, Turbo Tenant, tenants right there, we are dedicated to helping landlords be better to their tenants, and frankly, helping tenants be better to the landlords as well. But we are all about long-term rentals. We are all about the self-managing landlord, the mom and pop landlord, DIY landlord, whatever you want to call them. Yeah, exactly. It's hopefully all of you I've been talking to. So yeah, thank you all so much for joining. Hope I piqued your interest, and please check out one of those links we dropped in the chat.
Yes, you guys. I mean, obvious. I think it's pretty obvious, but we should have Jonathan back, I think, for a deeper dive. Maybe we bring him back, we go even deeper in this, guys. So let us know. I did drop the Google review link in there. If you did love Jonathan's webinar, please let me know. Give me 5 stars only if you can. I would really appreciate you guys. But thank you all for your questions. That was phenomenal. We did record today's session, so I'll drop the the YouTube channel in the chat right now for you guys. So go check out the replay, send this to your other landlord friends. If you love them, you'll share this information with them. And again, guys, go to even it's on the website too. So if you want to find Turbo Tenant, you can always go to bpmria.com, press that vendor partners tab. You will find them there. But go click the link in the chat as well, turbotenant.com/BPM RIA. Go check it out, start getting the information, do your own research, and it's worth a shot, you guys. So I really hope that this helped you all show you what's available right now. Things are constantly changing. We're always getting more technology, more advanced. As you guys saw, they're having the AI features in there. Like, this is just what's happening these days, and we need to get ahead of the curve and use these resources. We need to save our time, most importantly, and keep growing our businesses. So I really hope this helps you all. You can access Turbo Tenant straight from the website. So go to bpm.com, bpmria.com, go get connected, book a call, sign up, do the things. And we hope to have Jonathan back very soon. Thank you so much for the time, Jonathan. We really, really, really appreciate it. And everyone else, we will see you back here, same place, same time next week on Tuesday for our next webinar. So I hope you guys have a nice weekend and keep praying for our people up north that are so sad and affected by the storm. So I'm seeing some, charities out there, and I have some friends who are helping. So if you know somebody up there that's able to help, now's the time. We're a community, got to stick together. So thank you so much, Jonathan. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and we will see you next time.
Awesome.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.